Stock removal strategies are very common in WM, but have you used stock determination rules in inventory management? Have you seen my last video? It was about split valuation. Check it out. Also, if you don't want to miss any of these videos again, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Hello and welcome back to another weekly video. Today we will talk about stock determination in SAP. Stock determination enables you to implement various strategies to withdraw material for good issues and stock transfers. You configure these strategies in customizing. Based on the material requirement entered, the SAP system determines how and when the material should be withdrawn, and from which storage locations and stocks. When planning your requirements for the materials, it is not always important that you define the stock and storage locations from which the materials are later to be withdrawn. Automatic stock determination takes care of this decision for you. This prevents you from defining these parameters too early and from restricting your business processes unnecessarily. The system does not determine the values you require until the good movement is posted. Based on the stock determination strategy you predefine, the system makes decisions on material withdrawal, depending on the material, plant, and the business process. The systems can carry out stock determination in two ways. One, automatically in the background. Using this procedure, you do not have any way of intervening in the stock determination process, as processing only takes place in the background. It is entirely up to the SAP system to determine the stock from which materials are withdrawn and posted. Or two, via online processing during the stock determination process. If you have configured this option, you can have the SAP system to display the result of stock determination in a dialog box, and you can change the result manually. So basically, in customizing, we will have to define some strategies, and each strategy is combined of two elements. One, we have to create stock determination groups, and this group will be assigned to the material master. And then we have to create stock determination rules, and the rules are assigned to the application, like inventory management, for example. Then these two elements plus the plant will define how the strategy is created. And here we have all the details that we will see in the customizing. Let's start by creating a new material master. We're going to use a semi-finished product, HALB material type. So let's select a couple of views. We are going to use Plan 1000 store location 0001. Test stock determination. Now let's populate some important fields in the material master. And here we are going to use split valuation that was discussed and explained on the last video from last week. Let's use D as grade, where we define grade A and grade B as valuations. This grade could represent, for example, different qualities of your material. Okay, now we have our material created. If you want to see how this split valuation is set up, you will see here we have valuation category D as grades, and it's defined with grade B and grade A, and it is active, and it is linked to the accounting reference 0008, that is for semi-finished products. So this is why I use a HLB material type. Okay, now we create a material, so let's also create the valuation. So for grade A, let's say this is the highest quality, we can set a price of 10. And for grade B, let's say the price is 8, it's cheaper. Okay, and related to master data, as we're going to use consignment stock, we will have to create an info record for the material, so we have a price. So let's do that for vendor 1111. And let's say the consignment is more expensive, it's 12. Let's link to grade A. Okay, so now we have all our material created in 2 valuation categories and also in the info record. Okay, let's start with our customizing. So we jump to our IMG, and under material management, we have inventory management, and here we have stock determination. So let's start with defining the strategy. As we mentioned in the overview, we have the stock determination group and a stock determination rule. So let's start making a new entry for plant 1000 and group set 0001 test stock determination. So here we have a group. Now let's define a rule. Set 001 test rule test stock determination. And now we define the rule. Now let's go to the header table. And let's make a new entry for our plant. The stock determination group, and we select as well the stock determination rule. And here is our strategy, the strategy stock determination. Okay. And here you see we have three ways of doing a sorting. Okay, the idea is to sort different type of stock so they are consumed in a determined order. So the first one is doing or considering the item table that it is here, and we will go there in a minute. Or we can consider the price in ascending or descending order, and as well the quantity. And here we have the priorities of which one has highest priority to the other. Then here in quantity distribution, in the quantity proposal field, here you can have a user exit that you write your own code for the logic. And you can set up the number of splits, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. How many splits do you allow? If you leave this one empty, it will be unlimited. And in the other settings, as we are not using WM, we are saying stock determination has priority. We are using this only in inventory management. And as we also mentioned in the overview, you can do this in the in a batch, in background or online. So we are doing this online so we can see. Here you can enable pipeline withdrawal. It will not be our case. Or you can also say that this strategy will be used with a user exit. Okay, that is not our case. Okay, now we have our header table. Okay, if you don't set any of this priority, then the one that takes place is based on the item. So here we have the special stock indicator, and we see that we have consignment or unrestricted. So let's say that our first priority will be to consume from our own stock in store allocation 0001. This will be our first priority. And for valuation type, let's say this will be grade A. Okay. Then as the second priority, let's say that we're using stock from consignment in 0001. It will be our second priority. Also for grade A. So if we have grade A and grade B stock, we prefer to consume grade A first rather than grade B. And if we have own stock and consignment stock, we prefer to consume first the stock from grade A from our own stock. And finally, we can say that own stock 001, this will be our third priority. And here we consume grade B. Okay, so this is clear. And we say, and here we define our strategy. Okay, at item table, and here is the header table. As we do not have any priority, it's considering the item table. Okay, so now let's put some stock and let's see how the stock is determined to be consumed. Before that, very important, we just create the strategy, but we mentioned that we have to make the assignment. So the stock determination rule, and here you have all the movement types. So in our case, we are going to use 201, good issue for cost center. So in this case, we are saying that we are using our determination rule set 0001. And then we have also to assign to our part stock determination group, And here we have the one that we just created. Okay, now let's go to transaction MyGo and let's put some stock. Could receive other for our part. Quantity. Let's put the quantity as the same as the price, as we have a relationship to both. So we know the price and the quantity will be the same. Plant 1000 storage location. So first for grade A, here the price was 10 euros and we are entering 10 units, 10 pieces. Then let's do another one. In this case for grade B. And for grade B, the price was 8 euros. So I am entering 8 units. Okay. And now let's put some consignment stock. So this will be 501K. To partner 1111. And the price was 12 for the consignment stock. So we are entering 12 units as well. For grade A. Okay. Now we have all our stock, so we can see that we will have at planned storage location, we have 18 units, and these are 10 of grade A and 8 for grade B. And then we have an additional 12 units in vendor consignment stock for grade A. And now let's see how the strategy works. So for this, as we assign to movement type 201, we had to make a good issue. For our part, let's start simulation with 1 unit. And in this case, you will see here in the quantity tab, you have this icon for the stock determination. Okay. So this is what we can see now. So you see stock selection, new tab here, and we have the sorting as we define in our item table. Here you have the strategy info, and you can jump to the item. This is what we have defined. And you can see also the header sorting as well. So as we see, if we want to consume 1 unit, it will take from own stock from grade A, where we have 10 units. Okay. I'm not taking this one. So what happens if we put 11 units? You see that the first 10 are taken from the own stock, and then 1 unit it's taken from the consignment stock, okay, for grade B. Yeah. This is what we have in our item table. First is own stock, and second is consignment stock, okay? But always considering first grade A over grade B. Okay, so now what happens if I'm not taking it, have 23. Yeah. So we have 10 units of own stock, 12 units of consignment stock, okay, always grade A, and then the remaining 1 unit, it will be consumed from grade B. So you see here how the sorting based on the item table was working. So I'm not saving this one. So now let's do some changes so we can test also the header table. Okay, now let's say that we want to have the sorting, but our preference is the price. So let's say that we want to sort ascending based on the price, and now we are saying that this has the first priority. So our sorting will not be done based on the item table, but just on the price in an ascending order. So let's do this exercise again. So what happens now if I have 1 unit? You see now that the first one to be consumed is grade B from own stock, where the quantity is 8. And if you remember, we put the same quantity as the price. Okay, so we can see easily how the sorting is working. Okay, this is sorting in ascending order based on the price. Yes, grade B was 8 euros per piece. In the same way, if we have 11 units, you will take the first 8 from grade B, and then the next one of these 10 units of grade A of own stock. Yes, because this is 10 units of price, and at the end it will consider the 12 units of consignment stock. So if we do another simulation with 23, yeah, you see at the end that we are taking 5 units from the consignment stock, okay, because this was the most expensive. So let's do another change and now sort the price in descending order. And let's leave 23. And now you can see that it's just the opposite, okay? The first ones to be consumed will be the 12 units from the consignment stock because these are the most expensive. Then it will take another 10 from grade A own stock because the price is 10. And at the end, it will take the last unit from grade B with the price of 8. Okay, so this is sort now based on the price in descending order. Okay, now we can do is, let's see if we make the priority now on the quantity, yeah, but here the quantity will be the same as the price, right? So if we do the trick again here, we see now that we have ascending based on the quantity, so the less quantity will be taken first. Okay, and here we have 8 units. So let's do this grade B and grade A the same quantity. Okay, so we will put another 2 units of stock for grade B. So let's make a good receipt. Two units. okay, for grade B. Good. So if we check our stock again, you see that we have 20 units in our store location. So 10 for grade A and another 10 for grade B. And we still have our 12 in consignment stock. So now the quantity is the same for grade A and grade B. So let's see what happens if now we want to make a good issue. Let's put again 23. Yep. So you see now that we have these two with the same quantities, and as grade A is the first, it will be taken with priority to grade B, okay? But what we can do as well is set up as quantity our first priority, and then the price as a second priority in ascending order, for example, okay? So now we will see that we have grade A and grade B with the same quantity, but the prices are different, okay? So now you see that still we have grade A as first, okay? But if we now do another simulation, you see now that we have grade B first, right? Because our first criteria, our first priority is the quantity in ascending. And we have the same quantity for both, okay? So this is equal. But then our second priority is price in an ascending order, okay? And the price for grade B was 8, and the price for grade A was 10. Okay, so now grade B is taking precedence over grade A. And if we play a little more, we can do this descending. And we check this again. And now we have grade A first, because we have the first priority is quantity, that is the same. Our second priority will be the price, and grade A have a 10 euros per unit and grade B 8 euros per unit. Okay? So now let's do our last step and let's consume it for real. Okay? So now we are taking 32 units. Okay, so we are consuming everything. Yes, and this is the sequence as it will be taken. Grade A first, grade B second, and at the end the stock from consignment. Okay. So now we are saying that do you want to copy the selected stock? We are going to say yes. And you see now that the one line that we have entered, it was split in 3 items. Okay. And you can see that the valuation type was determined, grade A, grade B. We have not introduced any valuation type. Yes, we just put the quantities. And also in the case of consignment stock, you see that the movement was determined automatically, and as well the supplier. Yeah, 111. We can see this better in the details. For the first line, we see that we have grade A. In the second line, we have grade B. And in our third line, we have grade A and the movement is 201K, right? Good issue from consignment stock. And the partner was determined as well. We have not introduced this data. Okay, we just put the material and the quantity, and then all these values were determined by the rules in the stock determination. Okay, so now we can save. Yeah, it was posted. So let's check again now our stock. And you see everything was consumed. Okay. Another hint, we can see all this functionality if you like to know the tables. Yeah, you see T434 are the ones that are used for the stock determination. So here we have the groups, and we have this one, the one that we just created. So G is for the groups. Then here we have the rule. Yeah, the one that we just created. And then we have the header table. Yeah, with all the information. Here you have the priorities and the price and the quantity. And then we have the item. Yes, and we have our sequence with the sortings. Yeah, we have own stock, consignment stock, yeah, own stock. So here you have all the tables for the stock determination based on our customizing.
If you enjoyed this video, please give a like, share, subscribe, and turn on notification. See you next time. Bye.